Hey everyone, Merry Christmas, or Happy Christmas Eve for those who it's not Christmas yet. Um, I wanted to do this last year, but I didn't have the chance to record or edit. So yeah, I'm really happy how it turns out. Instead of doing just one story, I'm doing two. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Please do sit back and relax and have a Merry Christmas. The first story we have for the night is The Polar Express. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. Did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend told me I'd never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear a sound, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of a hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A guard stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his jacket and looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and dress gown. I tiptoed downstairs and out of the door. All aboard! The guard cried out. I ran up to him. Well, he said, are you coming? Where? I asked. Why, the North Pole, of course, was his answer. This is the Polar Express. I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard. The train was filled with other children, all in the pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate sweets with nugget centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa, as thick and rich as milk chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northwards. Soon, there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through the cold, dark forests, where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. We climbed mountains so high, it seemed as if we would scrape the moon, but the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. There, the guard said. It's the North Pole. The North Pole. It was a huge city, standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first, saw no elves. They're gathered at the center of the city, the guard told us. That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas. Who will receive the first gift? We all asked. The guard answered. He'll choose one of you. Look, shouted one of the children. The elves! Outside, we saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped and the guard let us out. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of the large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. The prancing and paced, ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound, like nothing I ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart, and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and, pointing to me, said, Let's have this fellow here. He jumped onto his sleigh. The guard helped me up. I sat on Santa's knee, and he asked, Now, what would you like for Christmas? I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from a reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa, and he stood, holding the bell high above him, and called out, The first gift of Christmas! A clock struck midnight as elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me, and I put it in my dressing gown pocket. The guard helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeer's names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us, then disappeared in the cold, dark polar sky. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus' sleigh. "Let's hurry outside and look for it," one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home. It broke my heart to lose the bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The guard said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. "What?" I yelled out. He cupped his hand around his mouth. "Merry Christmas!" he shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was a silver bell. There was a note. "Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Mend the hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C." I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," said my father. "It's broken." When I shaken the bell, my parents had not heard a sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe. Before we get to the last story, I just want to say if you guys are enjoying it, please do consider to subscribe. It'll help me out a lot. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to a visit from St. Nicholas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirred, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled, all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads, and Ma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter nap. When out on the lawn, there across such a clatter, I sprung from the bed to see what's the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh with 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his courses they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Dancer and Blixen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly, when they met with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the courses they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed in all fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys was flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes how they twinkled, his dimples how merried. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was white as the snow. The stump of the pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, and turned with a jerk, and laid his finger aside of his nose, and gave a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprung to his sleigh, to his team he gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, we worked really hard on this. I did all the art you see, and Akira worked very, very hard on recording
And editing.
and editing.
Yeah. I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year. I hope you all got the presents you wanted.
And we'll see you guys soon.
See you guys soon.
Thank you guys for stopping by at the Forgotten Tavern.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
See you all next time. Bye.